a bit of an addiction creating characters in a video game. It's like when you're a kid and you get that new toy from that awesome toy line that you always wanted. I compare it to my favorite toys, G.I. Joes, and when I got my first G.I. Joe, Storm Shadow, it led to so many more. I then got Snake Eyes, I then purchased Duke, and well, let's face it, you can't have Joes without Cobra, so then I bought Cobra Commander, then I got Destro, then I had to have Zartan, and it just kept going on. And then I had to have the females, and I got Baroness, and I got Scarlet, and before I knew it, I just couldn't count them anymore. But you know, as a child, you never really think about it, and I just never did. How do new characters get created? Well, for me, it's usually one of these two things. When I see somebody on the fleet in swtor, I'll think to myself, they look so freaking cool. I need one that looks exactly like that. Then there's sometimes I come up with an idea, and I start to paint that story in my head, and from there the characters get created in these video games. It can get out of hand sometimes, and I lose the balance that keeps my anxiety in check. Let me tell you this story. When I first started my second account, I had this idea. I was going to keep my mains, Athal and Jawar, who were going to be mirror classes in the class that I spent the most time with on each faction. They were going to be completely separated from my old characters. They were going to just be one character, two characters on this second account. But of course that did not work out. I started making other characters on this second account. Before I knew it, I was at 20 plus characters and it got completely out of hand. And there's just no way to balance it out. I was starting to get severely stressed out from this. When I look at my login screen in both the games that I play, I get a bit annoyed with how many characters I actually have. I try to remind myself that I have a goal, and that goal is usually to have one male and female of every class and species. It's a lot, and I know the chaos will take over my thoughts pretty quickly. Then my normal debate goes through my head, do I really need all these characters? It's not a question of needing them, it's more of a desire to have them. It's my hobby and my passion, to play these games and to create. The real issue though is trying to convince myself it's okay to have these characters. It's finding a balance between making new ones and keeping what I have. I remind myself on a daily basis these are just games and this is how I play. I find happiness in creating. I'm a writer and I like to create story. These new characters are all part of a bigger story and that's perfectly okay. Finding balance among 60 plus characters in 2 video games isn't an easy task. I remind myself life things can get out of hand pretty quickly. Sometimes things happen and they continue to happen. Before you know, you have to deal with 6 different problems all at once. Choices, decisions, it doesn't matter. Life will just roll in and get in your way. Taking a deep breath and reminding yourself it's just a game and it's your choice to play it this way always helps me back down to earth. It's okay to make more characters, and it's okay to have dozens of alts in a video game. Just take one day at a time, set goals, and try to achieve them. That's how I try to get over the hurdle of having too many characters. You may never find a real balance with ever-changing thoughts. I know I'm like night and day with my thoughts. One moment I'm okay with my decisions, and the next minute I don't agree with myself, and I try to convince myself I need to change. But with each thought of change comes a thought of being who I am. This is me, and I like alting. I like alts. I need to find that balance that allows me to continue to do what I want to do. I find ease in watching other altaholics. That ease is something I need. I need to know others play like me. It brings me comfort and it helps me push through the thoughts of change. I have balance when it comes to knowing other souls out there do what I do and make it through each day. So finding balance is an extremely important subject when it comes to alting. It's not going to be easy by any means, but if you can find balance, then you can alt, and that's all we need.